Chapter 16 Disobedience. Kara finished up the day with a Spanish exam, for which she hadn't done any studying. Learning two new languages at the same time was hard, and Kara was focusing much more on mastering English. At least, that was her excuse for not preparing for her class, and now she felt like she had no choice but to cheat. She could see the answers other students were writing down. The good girl inside of her duked it out with the bad girl. The good girl wanted to accept her punishment for failing to do the work, but the bad girl kept reminding her that she wasn't like other students, and the only reason why she was in school anyway was to fit in, and she would try harder next time, so just cheat this once. So she cheated, but only a little bit, so that she wouldn't feel too bad. Of course, this wasn't the first time she succumbed to the temptation to use her powers, and it wouldn't be her last. Once again, she promised herself to try hard to study tonight for her English exam tomorrow. Tomorrow would be her last chance to do things right this semester, since after that was the winter break. Only a few days ago, Kara thought that the holidays could not come fast enough, because school had been such a nightmare. Everything had changed. Kara now felt much more at home in school. Kara didn't care at all about Christmas or New Year's Day. She felt like she was making friends finally, and that was a much better present than anything Eliza could wrap. Kara also hated the idea that she would have to spend the next 2 weeks away from Lena and Eric. "Why so sad?" Lena asked when the four of them met by the lockers at the end of the day. Kara didn't realize that she looked sad, or maybe Lena sensed that telepathically. She had told Kara that she could sense her feelings, even though she couldn't sense her thoughts. "After tomorrow, we won't see each other for 2 whole weeks," Kara said. "At least we have tomorrow," Lena gave the half-glass-full answer. "Besides, what's stopping us from hanging out over the break?" Eric argued. "I can't imagine staying in my home all the way until 2007. And we don't live that far away. We could all meet in the middle of the mall and mess up the adult world the same way we're messing up our school." Lena punched Eric's shoulder hard enough to make him wince. "We aren't messing up the school. We're saving it from all the bullshit." "Yeah, I know. We're replacing it with better bullshit," Eric said, and he grinned when Lena threatened to smack him again. "Just kidding." "What do you mean?" Alex asked seriously, though both Lena and Eric were smiling playfully. Lena got more serious. "About the bullshit? I just mean that the school is always trying to mold us into something that we aren't. The school tells us how to think and feel, but nobody thinks or feels like they say we should. Not even the teachers. So they make everyone feel bad and broken, but the only thing that is broken is all of their rules. So we are fixing that." Alex frowned. She was not a rebel at heart. Maybe it's not all bullshit. Maybe the school teaches like that because it works. Who are we trying to change things anyway? "It's not just the teaching or even the teachers. It's the cliques. It's the bullies. It's the shaming. It's the dress code. Most kids hate all of that shit, but don't feel like they can do anything about it. We can change things. So we should," Lena said, confidently. Alex bit her lip, reluctantly coming around to Lena's way of thinking. What if we screw things up and make things worse? Lena shrugged. "At least all of the students will be able to say that they learned something in school." When Kara and Alex left the bus and entered their home, Eliza was there to meet them. Eliza was not as supportive as she had been that morning. "There was a message on the answering machine from the school," Eliza explained to Kara. "It said that you were flashing everyone in class and you were not wearing any underwear." Kara's mouth dropped. She looked at Alex, but Alex seemed just as baffled on what to do. "Let me see," Eliza demanded. "Geez, Mom," Alex objected on Kara's behalf, leveling a nasty look at her mother. Kara stood stiff and as quiet as a board, so Eliza furrowed her brow. "Well?" Kara groaned, then lifted her skirt, revealing the boring white panties. Eliza sighed, then felt embarrassed. "I'm sorry, Kara. Maybe it was just a phone prank. Kids today—" "Whatever," Kara said, as she turned towards her bedroom. Kara wasn't embarrassed. She was getting angry. She didn't care if people saw her panties or even if they saw what was underneath. But 3 times in one day, adults thought it was perfectly fine to check under her skirt without her permission. Apparently, adults checking her out was more acceptable than if she showed her goods on her own to whomever she wanted to see. Yet, if those same adults took a photo, they would probably go to jail, because Kara appeared to be too young. Earth culture seemed crazy to Kara sometimes. Not even taking age into account, images of a woman's vagina or nipples were apparently very controversial, and everyone needed to be protected from them, even if such images were more accessible on the internet than images of puppies and flowers. Alex followed Kara into the bedroom and slammed the door behind her. "I can't believe Mom did that," Alex said supportively. "At least she didn't grab the skirt herself," Kara replied. "Why did the school call her if nobody complained?" "I doubt it was the school who called," Alex answered. "Cookie?" Kara asked, suddenly sure of it. Alex nodded. "Let's see." They turned on the computer and logged on into the chat room. Peggy Sue wrote, "After that new show in bio and the stuff in the hallways, the freshmen are all going effing nuts." Crystal Girl wrote, "Not me and my friends. We think it's disgusting." Peggy Sue wrote, "Her mom better get her under control now that she knows. Maybe she'll take her back to homeschooling." Cookie wrote, "It's not just Kara anymore. It's the whole freshman class. It's like they're anarchists or something. The upperclassmen need to put them in their place, if we don't do something first." Skins Fan wrote, "What difference does it make? The school said they'll crack down on the dress code, so that should stop them." Peggy Sue wrote, "One slut shows her slit, so now I can't wear my shorts? Lame." Cookie wrote, "I don't know. The freshmen are all out of control. They need guidance." Crystal Girl wrote, "That Danvers slut is going to get someone pregs or raped." "Could that really happen? We were just playing around," Kara said nervously. "No, Abby's a bitch for even saying that," Alex said angrily. "The worst you could have done was make someone uncomfortable, but whatever they do with that is not on you. Let's go to MySpace, okay?" Kara nodded, hid the chat room, and opened the Kara Danvers Rocks group in Firefox. "Wow, 86 members," Alex said, amazed. "You're a freaking star." Kara smiled, already forgetting the harsh treatment she just received in the chat room. "That's like all the freshmen, huh?" Alex squinted at the tiny print on the screen. "Well, some of these are sophomores too. Hey, that's Cookie's fake name. I guess she wants to spy." "I always feel like a spy when I watch them in the chat room," Kara confessed, as she opened the messages of the MySpace group. Cindy wrote, "First." Moderator wrote, "Oh, I just got home." Moderator wrote, "But that was a nice tribute to the Queen today." Cindy wrote, in asterisks, "Bows." Andy wrote, "A worthy second act of the debauchery." Kim wrote, "Oh, here we go again. What happened exactly anyway? Wish I was in the class." Andy wrote, "Cindy flashed her rump while pretending to pee on the floor." Cindy wrote, "Yeah, it's true. Dave fake peed on the blackboard with a magic marker sticking out of his pants, and Jim marked his territory like a wolf. Comparative biology and all that." Andy wrote, "That was no marker." Emily wrote, "LOL, I wish I could have seen that. But I'm pissed because now they're threatening anyone who breaks the dress code. I knew this would happen." Cindy wrote, "Oh, about that. Has anyone actually seen the dress code? Kara had mentioned not being able to find it, so I looked it up. Guess what? What Kara did was completely okay. Andy wrote, "Yeah, right." Cindy wrote, "Seriously, I'm looking at it now. I don't know about flashing and all that, but the dress code only bans clothes if underwear is visible. It says nothing about wearing no underwear at all." Andy wrote, "Get real. It's obviously an oversight. Wearing underwear is assumed." Cindy wrote, "You can't enforce an assumption." Emily wrote, "How about my crop tops?" Cindy wrote, "Sorry, the dress code doesn't allow belly buttons." Emily cried, "Oh, come on." Cindy wrote, "I know it's effed up, except for underwear. It's actually really fascist. It also does not allow logos on shirts or spaghetti straps or short shorts or tank tops, even though a lot of teachers wear those. Just about anything a boy wears is okay. They can wear shorts, but if we do it, it's distracting." Emily wrote, "Well, fuck that. I guess I'll go commando then. Their rules suck." Cindy wrote, "Some of us are protesting too. I think I'll wear a tank top because I want them to see me shove my middle finger in their face. They wouldn't even know if I was wearing panties or not, so why bother?" Emily wrote, "Maybe that's why it's not in the dress code, because nobody could tell if girls are wearing underwear unless we flash them." Cindy wrote, "Or if a teacher decides to force a look under our skirts, like they did with Kara today. If a teacher tries to grab my skirt, I'm going to slap their face." Kara wrote, "Ha, I wish I had thought of that." Kim wrote, "What? Who grabbed your skirt?" Kara wrote, "The principal pulled up my skirt, then Mr. Hanky tried too, but I got away." Andy wrote, "No way." Cindy wrote, "It's true. I heard some people saw the principal do it, but I saw Mr. Hanky with my own eyes." Andy wrote, "I don't like what you did, Kara, but that is way worse." Cindy wrote, "Protest?" Andy wrote, "Maybe I'll wear a tank top too." Kim wrote, "Me too, or a cute dress. Maybe I'll go commando too. I've never tried it before, but it could be fun." Charlotte wrote, "Oh my god, you girls are rad. I'm such a coward, but I'll wear my torn jeans. I always wanted to wear torn jeans to school." Moderator winked and wrote, "So 2 commandos and 2 tank tops, huh?" Cindy wrote, "You know, boys can protest too. Just toss the boxers. Show support for us girls." Moderator wrote, "I don't know. Nobody wants to see my junk bouncing around." Cindy wrote, "Oh, so it's hot if we do it, but it's too embarrassing if you do it?" Lena wrote, "No, don't say that, Cindy. This is about freedom and being proud of ourselves, instead of being ashamed. Just protest any way you want, Bobby." Moderator wrote, "I'll protest if Kara protests." Kara looked at Alex excitedly. Alex shook her head like she thought she should, but Kara's enthusiasm was contagious. "This is insane," Alex said, "but fine. Just no showing off, please. I'm pretty sure flashing again would get you in trouble, even if Cindy thinks it's okay. How about a tank top this time?" "I don't have any," Kara replied, frowning. "And I don't really want people looking at my boobs. I look so flat. I'll just wear a really small skirt, but I promise I'll wear panties." "Okay," Alex said, but Kara wasn't even sure Alex had heard her. Alex had a rebellious glint in her eye now, too, as she dug through her wardrobe. "It's not really my style, but I do have a cute tank top somewhere." Kara typed into the computer, "Okay, we are in." When they arrived at school the next morning, many of the girls were shivering, since they were not only up against an oppressive dress code, but also the holiday season weather. Once they were in the warm interior of the school, they shed their sweaters and jackets, thus decorating the hallways in a very unseasonable way. Kara drew her share of attention, but Kara felt that Alex outshone her today, while showing hardly any skin below the shoulders. Alex wore a simple salmon tank top that showed off her curves and made clear that she wasn't wearing a bra. The thin shirt covered the top of Alex's form-fitting black leggings, hiding the panty lines. The brewing rebellion included girls from all 4 grades, with some girls taking the rebellion to an extreme, while others showed only token solidarity. A few boys even got into the action. The dress code hardly affected them, yet Kara saw a t-shirt that said, "Born to FCUK." Another t-shirt said, "I am not distracted." And one boy wasn't even wearing a shirt at all. Several teachers walked down the hall, pretending to see nothing unusual. But when Kara invoked her super senses, she saw a commotion in the teacher's lounge and a heated argument in the principal's office. "We should throw them all in detention," said the principal on the speakerphone, but the superintendent replied,
"Don't be foolish, and I don't want to hear any more about the dress code inspections. It's Christmas break. Let's just ride this out for now. Contact the parents and deal with this when we start next semester."
Alex smiled brightly when Kara described what she had overheard. "Score 1 for the students," Alex said. While Kara was retrieving her books from her locker, Lena and Eric fashionably made their entrance into the school. Eric was wearing sandals, one of the few things boys were not allowed to wear, but nobody even noticed him because of the captivating image of the girl who was walking at his side. Lena was wearing a heavy red and white Santa overcoat that she held closed with her hands. When she walked towards her friends, she let the front peek open a crack, creating a wave of exposed skin that traveled down her body. The flash of skin began at her throat, then traveling through her cleavage, running over her navel, then pausing for a brief moment over her bright green panties until her bare shin fully emerged from the fabric with each step in her fluffy white slippers. Kara and Alex both watched in awe, thinking that she looked oh so very hot. And she did, but after a moment, they realized that Eric was in their heads. Lena didn't believe that Eric was in love with her. Lena thought that Eric was only in love with Kara. Maybe Lena knew best. She always seemed to know what was going on with her friends. But the passion emanating from Eric was so strong, and Kara could tell it was not directed at herself. Could it be that even a girl who could read minds could be blind to something so obvious? "Merry Christmas, ladies," Lena said, adding an unusual sultry tone to the greeting as she buttoned up her coat, preferring to tease than to satisfy. "Won't that be a little too warm to wear in the classroom?" Alex ribbed Lena, while perspiring sympathetically. "You'll be sweating all day." "I have plenty of ventilation if I need it," Lena replied mischievously. With Eric around, that would only drive the heat up higher, Kara thought. Most of the school was still abiding by the dress code, but Kara's classes were almost exclusively populated by freshmen. When Kara arrived at her first period English literature class, she was thrilled to see that almost everybody had joined the protest. Nobody had time to talk about their common cause, though, because the class was having its final exam on transcendentalist literature. After about a minute of mutual admiration, they sat at their desks with their pens in hand. They furrowed their brows with a level of focus that Kara had not seen in them before. Kara had done her homework this time, and Alex had helped her study last night, so she ended her class pleased at herself for not needing to cheat. Kara's next class was history, and they already had their final exam the previous day. Today's class was not needed academically, but it would end up being the most exciting history class of the year. Kara's teacher was intrigued by the students' disobedience to the dress code, and Kara felt like he was on their side. He decided to skip ahead a century in the curriculum and talk about the 1960s, a time when young people had changed society through their civil disobedience and self-expression. That was clearly an era close to his heart. He taught with more animation than Kara had heard from him all year. He ended his class with his favorite subject, law. He described a court case called Tinker versus Des Moines, where kids wore armbands to school to protest the Vietnam War, and the court let them do it. But he cautioned that civil disobedience was often accompanied by disciplinary action, and freedom always came with a struggle, so to be prepared for a pushback. Despite the warning, the kids in the class were inspired. When they had started school today, many of the kids were nervous, especially since the upperclassmen seemed to be against them. But now, they felt like they were fighting the good fight. Kara didn't have any close friends in her history class, but her classmates were much friendlier with her since Monday. 5 of the students were also in her biology class, including Bobby and Charlotte, and the 6 of them walked as a group across the school towards the lab on the first floor. Charlotte wanted to be Kara's friend, so she walked by Kara's side as they moved from class to class. "I wish I was as brave as you," she said shyly, so quiet that most people would not have heard her. "I'm not brave," Kara insisted. She pointed at a girl who was wearing a sheer blouse that barely obscured her liberated B-cups. "She's brave." "Only because you were brave first," Charlotte corrected. "Well, nobody is getting in trouble today," Kara reassured with a knowing smile, while they joined the human traffic on the stairwell. "So just wear whatever you want," Kara said. "I'm not afraid of getting in trouble. I'm just too big to wear anything like that." Kara glanced quizzically at Charlotte. She wasn't tall or overweight by any means, so she must have been talking about her abundant bosom. "Really?" Kara said. But Kara couldn't finish the thought. She tripped near the top of the stairs. She had forgotten that she could fly, which was probably just as well because that would have been difficult to explain. Instead, she tumbled forward with a yelp, slamming her elbows and knees on the concrete steps until one alert boy blocked her descent. "Kara!" Charlotte hurried down after her. Kara was laying awkwardly on the stairs. She looked back up, beyond Charlotte's frantically descending body, and Kara saw Cookie's new friend Abby glaring back down at her. Then, Abby disappeared into the crowd. "Are you all right?" the boy asked with an almost panicked concern. He leaned over and clumsily grabbed her hand with some urgency, but just as quickly, he let her go, as if touching her was forbidden. "Please be all right." Kara finally looked up and only then recognized that her aspiring hero was in fact Bobby. "I'm okay," Kara said, but then realized that she probably shouldn't be feeling this well. She had fallen down a half flight of stairs. She should be in pain. She let Bobby help her up. What now? How would she have felt after such a fall had she still been on Krypton? She leaned into Bobby as if she had trouble standing on her own, and she put her hand to her head as if in pain. Bobby was all too eager to lend his support. Kara knew that Bobby fancied her, but he was acting like a perfect gentleman, not letting his hands wander. Kara was not as good of a lady as she let her eyes wander. She saw that Bobby had kept his promise, though nobody without X-ray vision would have noticed. Bobby wasn't wearing any underpants under his slacks. Kara knew he had done that for her, though she had never asked him to. He didn't care about the dress code. He only cared about Kara. "Are you sure you're okay? Were you tripped?" Bobby asked suspiciously. He had probably seen Abby, too. "I don't know," Kara replied honestly. She suspected she was tripped, but she hadn't actually seen anything. Charlotte was sure, though. "It was Abby. She's a mean bitch." When they arrived at the door to the lab, Lena was stepping out, apparently having sensed something unusual. "What happened?" "Abby tripped me on the stairs," Kara replied calmly. Lena shook her head and said, "You can be sure that whatever Abby did, she did it because Cookie wanted it done." Kara nodded, then straightened up and brushed herself off. "I'm okay now," she told Bobby. Bobby was reluctant to let her go, which struck Kara as adorable, so she gave him a quick kiss on the cheek and a gentle touch to his arm. "Really, thanks, but I'm fine now." Finally, he let her go, as though he was gently placing a glass on the edge of a table. Kara flashed him a quick smile, then the four of them went to the lab and separated into their groups. When Kara and Lena were alone and waiting for Eric to arrive, Lena commented, "You are being very affectionate to Bobby." Kara shook her head and rolled her eyes with a smile. "It's not like that. He's just very sweet, and he's so happy when I'm nice to him." Lena warned, "That little kiss meant a whole lot more to him than it did to you." Kara was about to argue, but then she remembered that Lena had probably read Bobby's mind, so now Kara was concerned. "Oh, is this going to be a problem?" Lena shrugged. "Unrequited love is always a problem. Maybe you should remind him that you're only attracted to girls every chance you get." "I like boys too," Kara corrected. "It's just that Alex is the one for me." "You need to be clearer with him than you are being with me," Lena warned. Kara nodded as Eric approached, demanding to be filled in on the latest drama. Mr. Henke called the class to order and stared creepily at the female students as they walked to their tables. Apparently, the dress code was enacted to keep the teachers and faculty from being distracted, not the boys. Kara didn't care about the creepy stares, though, whether from adults or kids, so long as everyone kept their fingers from creeping. There was only one more presentation for the semester on the digestive system, and this was delivered by the most straight-laced group in the class, so Kara thought they would finally have a presentation without any controversy. But she only got to yawn once. Things got interesting when the speaker from the group explained the various purposes of the digestive organs in terms of intelligent design, which had become a scientifically accepted theory when Superman revealed himself. It was very difficult to explain how natural selection could produce someone so human-like on a different planet. The school allowed the teaching of the theory so long as the identity of the designing force remained a philosophical rather than a religious debate. Mr. Henke, however, was a very conservative teacher who was captivated by the elegance of the old evolutionary theory, and he was determined to engage the students in debate long after the presentation was done. Everyone seemed to have a strong opinion on the topic, except Kara. The theory of evolution had not existed on Krypton. Instead, her people had believed that the spirit of Rao formed all of creation by its consciousness taking form. But the various creation myths on Earth made just as much or little sense, so she just accepted life as a great big mystery. When the class finally ended, Mr. Henke was quite upset, but the students were happy. After all, the students had taken control of all the presentations, and they rightly felt that what was happening right here during the past few days was transforming the entire school. When the students left the lab for the final time this semester and headed to the cafeteria, they were filled with a great sense of pride and confidence. The situation in the cafeteria was a little different. Freshmen and sophomores had always congregated on the left side of the room, while juniors and seniors sat on the right. It was the same today, except that the cafeteria had never felt so divided. Half of the school had dressed to protest, while the other half followed the rules. Half the school felt very good about themselves, while the other half were angry at the upstart kids who were out of control. Kara watched Cookie from across the room. She appeared to be fuming that her plans to hurt and humiliate Kara had failed. Cookie caught Kara looking at her. Kara stuck out her tongue and then looked away, pretending Cookie wasn't there, and she talked with her friends. Cindy, Charlotte, Kim, and Bobby all sat at the table adjacent to the quartet, formerly known as the Freaky Four, and Kara was so thrilled to suddenly have so many friends. "Do you think we could tell them our secrets?" Kara whispered to Alex, and she braced herself for a harsh response. Instead, Alex surprised Kara by wrapping her arms around her alien sister and kissing her long and hard on the mouth. Then she replied, "Don't you think we've let them in on enough secrets already?" Kara's final exam for the semester was in algebra, which was the only exam she could ace in her sleep. After that, her last class of the day was nothing more than a study period, except that her Spanish teacher insisted that they keep quiet and remain in the room until the final bell rang. Kara was not alone in being barely able to keep her eyes open. What was the point of this? Were they teaching them how to survive vegetating in a waiting room without losing their minds? That was the toughest test yet. Kara couldn't stop biting her fingernails. Finally, the bell rang, and the silent room burst forth with cries of delight. Kara was the first out of the door, and she nearly ran down the halls to her locker, then waited with a big smile until Alex would arrive. To her surprise, among the first faces she saw was Cookie's, as her nemesis exited the classroom that was just beyond the lockers. Kara stiffened as Cookie approached. Cookie wore a gray skirt that fell below her knees with a long-sleeved sky blue shirt. Her gorgeous high heels made her tower over Kara. Her image was designed to earn maximum points according to the dress code. Cookie stopped for a moment to stare down at Kara and say, "Congratulations on dragging this school down into the gutter with you. At least it's real down our gutter. Everyone is free in our gutter," Kara countered as she watched Bobby approaching from the distance. "Oh, really?" Cookie replied, shaking her head. "Free to throw their lives away?" Kara was about to reply when she was struck numb by the expression on Bobby's face, still several yards away. His face wasn't right. Kara looked closer, and she saw that Bobby was holding a box cutter in his pocket, and his glare at Cookie was pure steel. "Cat got your tongue?" Cookie asked, apparently thinking she had flustered Kara. But Kara pushed Cookie out of the way and stepped between her enemy and her overly protective fan, who was startled by the interference. "Hi, Bobby," she said simply as she stared into his eyes, and she touched his arm warmly. She was doing exactly what Lena warned her not to do, but Kara felt now was not the time to deliver a hard truth to the boy, who apparently loved her so much he might kill for her. Kara had very little experience with the love of boys, but she knew that kind of love needed to be handled with special care. "Hey!" Cookie objected indignantly. "Talk about no manners!" Kara ignored her and continued talking to Bobby. "Thanks again for helping me earlier. I was really angry with Abby for what she did, but I've already forgotten about it. I guess I'm ready to forgive and forget." Cookie wisely assessed the situation and slunk away while Kara stood close to Bobby, distracting him. Kara then realized that she was standing a little too close. Maybe the problem was with those pheromones Eliza had always worried about. Or maybe Kara underestimated the simple power of being a girl, because now his dick was saluting Kara as vigorously as his loose slacks would allow. She didn't need X-ray vision to see that. Bobby noticed that Kara noticed. "It's okay," Kara quickly reassured him. "Really, I'm flattered." But now the shame seemed to overwhelm Bobby, as if he was now exposed to Kara in every way. Kara had seen his intent before he could even act. Kara had rejected his plan. Then, Kara had seen the truth about how he felt about her, but she clearly did not feel the same way. Bobby hurried down the hall towards no place in particular. Kara thought he was trying to get away from Kara and out of her sight, so Kara didn't follow him with her X-ray vision. She closed her eyes and bit her lip, thinking this could be a real problem. Alex was skipping down the hall towards Kara in full holiday spirit when she caught the tail end of the confrontation. "Is everything okay?" she asked. Cara bit her lip. I think Bobby likes me too much. Oh, Alex said, frowning, but she was in too good a mood to stay worried. At least it's better than if he hated you. Cara paused. Maybe,